You must understand this truth. Most people live as slaves to noise. They talk endlessly, they argue over nonsense, they try to prove themselves to others who don't even care, and in doing so they waste the most precious energy they have. But a true warrior knows that silence is not emptiness, it is a shield, it is discipline, and it is power. When you learn to focus entirely on yourself and stay silent, you begin to walk a path most people are too afraid to walk. They want constant attention, constant validation, but you, if you choose silence and self-mastery, you will transform your life in ways that the world cannot ignore. I want you to listen closely because what I am about to tell you are 7 lessons that can change the very direction of your life. These lessons are not theories, they are principles I lived by, and they are the difference between wasting your life in noise and rising in silence to a level where nobody can touch you. 1. Focusing on yourself builds unshakable confidence. Confidence is not something you can borrow from others, and it is not something you can buy. It is something you build inside yourself, day after day, in silence, when nobody is watching. The reason so many people feel insecure is because they waste their lives comparing themselves to everyone around them. They look at what others are wearing, what others are driving, how others are living, and they measure themselves against standards that were never meant for them. And every time they do that, they weaken themselves without even realizing it, because their attention is no longer on their own growth, but on the illusion of someone else's life. You see, when you constantly compare, you live in a prison of self-doubt. You never feel enough because you are chasing shadows that were never your path to begin with. But the moment you take all that wasted energy back and put it into yourself, everything changes. The moment you decide that your time will no longer be wasted on jealousy, on competition, or on trying to copy someone else's journey, you begin to build a confidence that cannot be shaken by any outside opinion. Every hour you spend sharpening your body, training your mind, and improving your craft is an investment in yourself that multiplies silently. Confidence does not come from applause, it does not come from likes, and it does not come from validation, it comes from discipline. It is born in the quiet moments of practice, when you push yourself a little further, when you master a little more, when you keep a promise you made to yourself. It grows in the silence of effort, in the sweat of hard work, and in the pride of knowing that even if nobody claps for you, you are moving forward. Look around and you will see a truth. Most people talk about success, but they do not build it. They talk about their dreams, but they never wake up early to chase them. They talk about discipline, but they never say no to their own weakness. Words are easy, they cost nothing. But the one who stays silent and works is the one who builds a confidence that no one can shake. Because confidence is not noise. Confidence is quiet. It is not boastful, it is steady. It does not scream. It radiates. That is why when a person who has been focused and disciplined walks into a room, they do not need to announce themselves. They do not need to explain who they are or demand respect. Their very presence speaks louder than words. People feel it without understanding why, because true confidence cannot be faked, it cannot be borrowed, it cannot be spoken into existence. It must be earned in silence. So if you want confidence, stop looking around you and start looking within. Stop measuring yourself against others and start measuring yourself against who you were yesterday. The only competition that matters is with your own reflection. Build yourself every day, even if it feels slow, even if nobody sees it, even if nobody praises it. Stay silent, stay consistent, and keep working. One day, you will walk into the world with a confidence so unshakable that no insult, no opinion, and no doubt can touch you, because your strength will not come from them, it will come from you. 2. Your silence commands respect. Most people make the mistake of believing that respect comes from how loudly they speak, how strongly they argue, or how much attention they can gather in a room. They believe that if they can prove their point, raise their voice, or force others to hear them, they will be respected. But this is not respect, it is noise. Respect does not come from noise, it comes from presence, and presence is born from silence. When you learn to stay silent in moments when others expect you to react, you immediately show strength that words could never express. A man who can remain calm, composed, and silent in the face of insults or challenges radiates an inner power that people cannot help but notice. Silence unsettles people because it cannot be argued with, it cannot be defeated, and it cannot be controlled. Think about it. When someone insults you and you do not react, they lose their power over you. Their words fall to the ground like broken arrows because you did not give them the satisfaction of a response. When people gossip about you and you remain silent, you rise above their level. They are caught in the mud of cheap talk while you walk forward with dignity. That dignity earns respect. because the world can see the difference between the one who wastes energy in words and the one who conserves energy in silence. The loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. They are loud because they want attention, they want recognition, they want to be noticed. But the silent one, the one who does not need to prove himself with words, he is the one who holds the real power. Your silence is not weakness, it is not retreat, it is a weapon of self-control. It shows the world that you are not desperate for approval, that you do not need to win arguments to know your worth. And when you carry yourself this way, respect naturally follows. People begin to sense something about you. They may not even be able to explain it, but they know you are different. They know you are not like the rest who waste their lives in endless noise. Your silence forces them to listen more carefully, to observe more closely, and in that observation, they grant you respect without you ever asking for it. True warriors understand this. The moment you master your tongue, you master half of your battles. Because when you stop wasting your words, when you stop reacting to every attack, you free yourself from being controlled by others. No one can drag you into their storm. No one can weaken you with their opinions. No one can lower your dignity with their insults. Your silence becomes a shield, protecting your energy and projecting your strength at the same time. And when you live this way, respect is no longer something you chase. It is something you command. So learn to love silence. Do not rush to speak. Do not waste your breath on battles that do not matter. Let others shout. Let them argue. Let them waste themselves in noise. You remain still, silent, and powerful. In time, people will come to respect you not because of what you said, but because of what you chose not to say. That is the respect that lasts, because it is built not on words, but on strength of character. 3. Silence protects your energy. Your energy is your life. It is the fire that fuels your actions, your focus, and your growth. But most people waste their energy on meaningless things. They argue about opinions that don't matter. They fight battles that don't belong to them, and they throw away their strength explaining themselves to people who were never listening in the first place. And when the day ends, they wonder why they feel drained, why they feel weak, why they cannot move forward. It is because they spilled their energy everywhere except where it mattered. A warrior does not do this. A warrior protects his energy like he protects his very life. He does not waste it in useless debates. He does not spend it chasing validation. He saves it for the battles that will define his path. When you choose silence over reaction, you are not being passive. You are being strategic. Every time you refuse to answer an insult, every time you let go of a meaningless argument, every time you resist the temptation to prove yourself with words, you are saving energy. That energy stays with you. It gathers inside you like a river held back by a dam, and when the moment comes for action, it is unleashed with unstoppable force. But if you let that energy spill into every petty conflict, every pointless discussion, then when it is time to fight for your dream, you will have nothing left inside. Too many people lose themselves in endless noise, and in doing so, they empty their power. Silence protects you from this. Silence keeps your energy concentrated, sharp, and ready. Think of it this way. Every time you react with anger, every time you try to prove yourself, you are giving a piece of your strength to someone else. You are letting them control you. But when you remain silent, you take back control. You keep your strength where it belongs, with you. And that strength, when guarded and focused, becomes a weapon that no one can take away. The world will always try to provoke you, because the world feeds on reaction. People who cannot control themselves want to see if they can control you. They will push you, insult you, tempt you, and wait for you to lose your calm. But if you stay silent, they fail. They realize they cannot touch your spirit. And in that moment, your silence becomes your shield. Silence is also healing. When you stop pouring energy into noise, you create space to recover, to reflect, to grow. Your mind becomes clear because it is no longer clouded by meaningless words. Your heart becomes steady because it is no longer pulled in 100 directions, and your body becomes stronger because your energy is spent on building yourself, not fighting shadows. Protecting your energy is one of the most important disciplines you will ever learn, because without energy, you have nothing. No focus, no strength, no progress. But with energy, everything becomes possible. You can train longer, you can work harder, you can think sharper, you can endure more. Silence gives you that energy back. So never mistake silence for weakness. Silence is strength in its purest form. It is the refusal to waste what is precious. It is the discipline of choosing battles that matter. And it is the wisdom of knowing that not every word deserves an answer, not every insult deserves your time, and not every fight deserves your energy. Save your energy for your purpose, for your growth, for your craft. Let the noise pass by while you stand firm, silent, and powerful. Protect your energy, and you will discover just how unstoppable you truly are. 4. Your growth requires isolation. If you truly want to grow, you must first understand that growth does not happen in the noise of crowds. It happens in the silence of solitude. Most people fear being alone because they have never faced themselves. They surround themselves with constant chatter, with constant entertainment, with constant company, because silence exposes them. It forces them to see the truth about their habits, their weaknesses, and their wasted time. But the man who wishes to rise above mediocrity must not run from solitude. He must seek it, because it is only in isolation, when the world is quiet and distractions are gone, that you can hear the voice of discipline calling you to become greater. Greatness is never built in front of an audience. It is built when no one is watching, when there is no applause, when the only witness to your effort is you. A fighter becomes dangerous not in the spotlight, but in the hours of silent training, when his knuckles are bruised and his body aches. A master of any art does not become skilled by telling the world his dreams. He becomes skilled by disappearing into solitude and giving himself fully to practice. When you embrace isolation, you separate yourself from the comfort that keeps others weak, and you enter the forge where strength is created. In that forge, your excuses are burned away, your doubts are tested, and your discipline is sharpened. Do not be afraid of people leaving you behind when you choose isolation. Understand that most people cannot walk the path of silence because they do not have the courage to sit with themselves. They will call you strange, they will call you antisocial, they will say you are wasting your life by not joining their noise. But in reality, you are not wasting anything. You are investing in yourself. Every hour you spend alone sharpening your mind. Every night you spend working while the world sleeps. Every morning you rise in silence while others cling to comfort. You are building a foundation of growth that no one else can see. And when the day comes for you to reveal what you have built, the same people who once mocked you will be forced to respect you. Isolation teaches you something that the crowd never will: self-reliance. When you are alone, there is no one to motivate you, no one to hold your hand, no one to push you forward. You must become your own master, your own teacher, your own motivator. And in this, you develop a strength that cannot be broken, because if you can stand alone and still move forward, then nothing and no one can stop you. Crowds can be taken away, support can vanish, applause can fade, but the discipline you build in isolation stays with you forever. That is why the greatest warriors, the greatest thinkers, and the greatest leaders in history all understood the value of solitude. Isolation is not loneliness, it is preparation. It is not emptiness, it is creation. It is not silence for the sake of silence, it is silence for the sake of building something powerful within yourself. When you choose to focus on yourself in those silent hours, you are planting seeds of greatness that will one day grow into something the world cannot ignore. So do not resist isolation. Do not fear it. Welcome it, because it is in those moments alone, away from the noise, that you will meet the strongest version of yourself. Your growth requires it. Without isolation, you will remain trapped in the distractions of the world. But with it, you will rise above them all. 5. Staying silent makes you unpredictable. One of the greatest advantages a warrior can have is unpredictability. If everyone knows your plans, if everyone can read your thoughts, if everyone sees your next move before you make it, you lose the element of surprise, and you give away your power. Most people make this mistake every day without realizing it. They talk too much about their goals. They reveal too much about their intentions. They announce their dreams to anyone who will listen, and in doing so, they make themselves predictable. They become easy to understand, easy to judge, and easy to stop. But when you learn to stay silent, when you learn to keep your moves hidden, you become a mystery that no one can solve. And in that mystery lies your strength. Silence makes you unreadable. People cannot manipulate what they cannot understand. If you are silent, they cannot prepare against you. They cannot block your next step, and they cannot weaken you with their opinions. The man who tells everyone what he plans to do is already defeated, because he has given the world a map of his mind. But the man who keeps his silence moves like a shadow, present, yet untouchable. He is impossible to corner because nobody knows which direction he will strike from. That is the power of unpredictability, and it is born from silence. Consider how many times people around you have spoken of their dreams but never acted on them. They broadcast their goals to the world, thinking it will make them real. But in truth, all it does is create pressure, distraction, and interference. Others hear their plans and begin to doubt them, mock them, or even work against them. Their dreams are poisoned before they ever had a chance to live. And why? Because they were not silent. They gave away their vision to people who could not protect it. A wise man understands that your vision is like a flame in its earlier stages, too fragile to survive the wind of opinions. Silence protects that flame until it is strong enough to burn on its own. Unpredictability is not only about your plans, it is also about your emotions. If people can predict how you will react, they will control you. If they know that an insult will make you angry, they will insult you. If they know that a compliment will win you over, they will flatter you. If they know that a little pressure will break your focus, they will use it against you. But if you remain silent, if you control your reactions and keep your emotions hidden, then nobody can control you. They can try to provoke you, but your silence leaves them powerless. They can try to manipulate you, but your calmness leaves them frustrated. The less they can read you, the more powerful you become. Think of water. It does not announce its flow. It does not tell you where it will move. It adapts, it shifts, it takes the shape of its environment, and yet it always finds a way forward. Water is unpredictable because it does not reveal itself until it moves, and by the time it moves, it is unstoppable. Be like that with your silence. Let people underestimate you. Let them think they know nothing about you. Let them wonder what you are planning, because their confusion is your advantage. The enemy who cannot read you cannot defeat you. The world that cannot predict you cannot stop you. Silence also gives you control over timing. When you do not rush to reveal your thoughts or your decisions, you gain the freedom to act when the moment is right. Most people lose because they speak too soon, they act too early, or they reveal themselves before the opportunity is ready. But the one who is silent waits, watches, and chooses the exact moment to strike. That moment, chosen with patience, has the power of precision. One silent move at the right time is worth more than 100 loud actions at the wrong time. Do not misunderstand this. Silence does not mean doing nothing. Silence means moving without announcing. It means acting without explaining. It means growing without broadcasting. It means letting your results appear suddenly, like lightning from a clear sky, shocking everyone because they never saw it coming. This is the way of a warrior. Not predictable, not loud, not careless with his thoughts, but silent, strategic, and unstoppable. So learn to hold your tongue, learn to guard your plans, learn to keep your emotions hidden and your moves unseen. Do not give away your vision to people who will never understand it. Do not give your enemies the advantage of knowing where you will strike. Stay silent, stay unpredictable, and you will become someone who cannot be controlled, cannot be stopped, and cannot be ignored. The world will watch you rise without ever knowing how you did it, and that is the greatest victory of all. 6. Your actions must speak louder than words. Too many people believe that talking about their dreams, their discipline, or their goals makes them real. They announce what they want to do, they speak endlessly about who they want to become, and they waste their breath telling the world how serious they are about their path. But let me tell you this truth. Words are empty when they are not backed by action. The world does not respect what you say, it respects what you do. And the man who spends his life talking but not moving will never be taken seriously. The man who stays silent and lets his actions speak is the one who commands respect without ever asking for it. I've seen countless people spend more energy describing their goals than pursuing them. They will tell everyone they want to become strong, but they will not rise early to train. They will talk about discipline, but they cannot control their impulses. They will promise success, but their days are wasted in laziness. Why? Because talking is easy. Talking feels good. Talking makes them believe they are already doing something. But action, real action, requires sacrifice. It requires discipline. It requires silence because action does not need applause. And most people are not willing to pay that price. If you truly want to transform your life, stop wasting time with words. Stop explaining your vision to people who will never understand it. Stop telling the world what you will do and start showing the world what you can do. The silent worker, the one who disappears and gives himself completely to his craft, is the one who rises. His absence speaks louder than the presence of those who waste their lives talking. When he finally returns, he does not need to announce anything, because his results do the talking for him. That is how actions speak louder than words. Imagine two fighters. One brags about his strength, shouts about how skilled he is, and boasts that no one can defeat him. The other stays silent, trains in the shadows, sharpens his body, and strengthens his mind. When the fight begins, the one who talked crumbles under pressure because his words could not protect him. The silent one, however, dominates because his training was his preparation, his discipline was his weapon, and his silence gave him power. This lesson applies to life itself. Loud words cannot save you, only disciplined actions can. Understand this, the more you talk about your goals, the weaker they become. When you reveal your dreams to others, you open the door for their doubts, their criticism, and their negativity to enter. And even if they do not speak it, their energy affects you. But when you keep silent and act, there is no interference. Your actions stay pure, your vision stays clear, and your progress stays strong. Do not let the world poison your dreams by giving them away too soon. Protect them with silence and strengthen them with action. Your actions also create a reputation that words never could. You can tell people you are disciplined, but if you are lazy, they will see the truth. You can tell people you are strong, but if you collapse under pressure, your words are meaningless. But when you act, when you show discipline, when you prove your strength without saying a word, people cannot deny it. They may not like you, they may not support you, but they will respect you because actions cannot be argued with. They are undeniable. This is why silence is so powerful. It keeps your focus inward. It forces you to work, not talk. It demands that your energy goes into building, not into explaining. Every hour you spend in silence, training, improving, and acting, you are building something that words could never create. And when the time comes to show the world, you will not need to speak because your results will be louder than any voice. Think of a tree. When it grows, it does not make noise. It does not announce that it is pushing its roots deeper, that it is reaching higher into the sky. It grows in silence, day by day, season by season, until one day it towers above everything around it. People look at it and admire its strength, its height, its presence. But they forget that all of it was built in silence, slowly, patiently, without any words. Be like that tree. Build yourself quietly, and let your growth one day speak for itself. Even in martial arts, I learned that talking is nothing. You can shout, you can brag, you can make promises, but once you step into combat, words vanish. The truth of who you are is revealed only in action, and life itself is combat. Every day is a test, every choice is a strike, every discipline is a block. The words you speak will not win the fight, the actions you take will. And if your actions are consistent, disciplined, and sharp, then you will not need to defend yourself with words because your life will already speak louder than any explanation you could give. The danger of words is also that they deceive you. They make you feel that you are progressing when you are not. Talking about your dreams creates an illusion of action, but it is only air. That is why so many people live their whole lives talking but never becoming. Do not let this happen to you. Do not fall into the trap of believing that speaking is the same as doing. Remember that the path of the warrior is not in what he says, it is in what he does. So take this lesson with you. Remain silent, protect your energy, and pour everything into your actions. Do not waste your strength in arguments. Do not waste your focus in explanations. Do not waste your dreams in announcements. Build in silence, train in silence, discipline yourself in silence, and then, when the world sees what you have become, your silence will transform into a voice louder than thunder, the voice of your actions. That voice will not fade, it will not be denied, and it will not be forgotten, because words may be forgotten tomorrow, but actions will be remembered forever. 7. Transformation begins with inner control. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against the world, not against your enemies, not against the circumstances of life. It is against yourself. Until you master yourself, you will always remain weak, no matter how strong you appear on the outside. Inner control is the root of all transformation, and it is the one thing most people avoid because it demands honesty, discipline, and courage. It is easy to try and control others, to criticize them, to demand respect, to chase power in the outside world. But if you cannot control your own mind, your own tongue, your own emotions, and your own impulses, then you are already defeated before the battle has begun. The man who cannot control himself is like a ship without a captain, drifting, unsteady, and at the mercy of every wave that strikes him. True transformation begins when you decide that your energy will no longer be wasted on the chaos around you, but instead will be used to master the chaos within you. Think about how often people destroy their own peace because they cannot control their reactions. One insult from a stranger ruins their entire day. One moment of anger makes them say things they regret for years. One moment of weakness makes them betray their values. This is not strength. This is slavery to the self. But the one who trains himself to remain calm, to remain silent, and to remain focused even in the face of provocation, that is the man who begins to transform into something unshakable. You cannot stop the storms of life, but you can control how you face them. You cannot silence the world, but you can silence your reactions. And when you do this, you begin to realize that control is not about dominating others. It is about mastering yourself. The one who rules his mind is stronger than the one who conquers nations, because nations can fall, armies can be defeated, wealth can be lost. But the man who has conquered himself cannot be defeated by anything outside him. This is why I tell you, your transformation begins with inner control. Inner control starts with your mind. The thoughts you allow to live in your head will shape the life you live in reality. If your mind is filled with fear, with jealousy, with anger, then your actions will follow the same pattern. But if your mind is disciplined, if your thoughts are directed toward growth, toward discipline, toward strength, then your actions will reflect that power. You must learn to observe your thoughts, to guard them like a warrior guards the gates of a fortress, and to allow only those thoughts that strengthen you to stay. Meditation, silence, reflection. These are the weapons of the one who wants mastery over his mind. Without control of your mind, you are a slave to your environment. But with control of your mind, you are free, no matter where you are. Inner control is also about your emotions. Many people think strength is about how much you can lift, how fast you can run, or how hard you can hit. But real strength is shown in how well you can stay calm when everything around you is falling apart. It is easy to smile when life is good. It is easy to be patient when nothing is testing you. But when the fire of anger rises, when the storm of fear shakes you, when the darkness of sadness tries to consume you, can you remain calm? Can you remain disciplined? Can you remain silent and in control? That is true strength. That is where transformation begins. And then comes control of your tongue. The words you speak can heal or destroy, can build or break, can create peace or ignite war. A man who cannot control his tongue will always regret it. Words spoken in anger cannot be taken back. Words spoken carelessly can ruin relationships, destroy trust, and even change the course of a life. But the one who has mastered silence, the one who has learned that not every thought needs to be spoken, the one who understands that silence often says more than words, that man has achieved power. Control your tongue, and you will control much of your life. Lose control of your tongue, and you will lose everything. And finally, inner control means mastering your impulses. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. Without discipline, you are a slave to your desires. You will eat what weakens you. You will waste your time on distractions. You will run after temporary pleasures, and you will abandon your true purpose. But when you have control, you choose what builds you, even if it is difficult. You choose what strengthens you, even if it requires sacrifice. You choose silence over noise, action over talk, growth over comfort. And in those choices, repeated day after day, you transform into someone unrecognizable from the person you used to be. Remember this, transformation is not sudden. It does not happen in a single day or with a single decision. It is born in the small moments when you choose control over chaos, silence over noise, and focus over distraction. Every time you master yourself in a difficult situation, you become stronger. Every time you resist the temptation to react, to complain, to prove yourself with words, you grow. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you take one step closer to becoming unshakable. And over time, those small steps create a transformation so powerful that even you will be shocked when you look back at how far you have come. So ask yourself, are you controlling yourself, or are you being controlled by yourself? Are you the master of your mind or its prisoner? Are you the ruler of your emotions or their slave? Are you the commander of your tongue or its victim? The answers to these questions will decide the direction of your life. You cannot blame others, you cannot blame fate, you cannot blame the world. Transformation is in your hands, and it begins with the decision to control yourself. Focus on yourself, stay silent, train your mind, discipline your body, guard your tongue, and master your emotions. When you do this, you will discover a transformation far greater than wealth, far greater than fame, far greater than anything the world can give you. You will discover freedom, the freedom that comes only when you no longer need to prove yourself, no longer need to seek approval, and no longer need to react to every challenge. The world will still test you, but you will remain calm. The storms will still come, but you will remain steady. The noise will still surround you, but your silence will remain unbroken. And in that silence, in that control, your life will transform into something extraordinary. 8. Mastery is found in consistency, not in noise. Most people are chasing sudden breakthroughs, quick victories, or dramatic changes. They want to wake up tomorrow and see themselves transformed. They want others to notice them instantly, to clap for them, to recognize them. But that is not how mastery works. True mastery is built slowly, silently, and consistently over days, months, and years of disciplined effort. It is not found in bursts of noise, but in the quiet repetition of small actions repeated with focus until they become part of who you are. And yet most people cannot endure this silence. They give up when no one is watching, they stop when there is no applause, and they quit when results take longer than expected. But the one who remains consistent in silence, who builds piece by piece without seeking recognition, will one day rise above everyone who tried to shortcut the process. Think about a drop of water falling on stone. One drop alone does nothing. 10 drops leave no mark. But a drop that keeps falling, day after day, year after year, eventually carves its way into the stone itself. That is the power of consistency. It is quiet, it is patient, and it is relentless. The world underestimates it because it makes no noise, but over time, it achieves what sudden force never could. Your growth works the same way. The habits you repeat every day, the discipline you follow even when nobody is watching, the hours you give to your craft in silence. These are the drops of water carving your destiny. They may not show results today, but they are shaping you in ways you cannot yet see. The danger of noise is that it deceives you into thinking that progress is made only when it is visible, when others notice it, when it is loud enough to attract attention. But this is false. Real progress is invisible at first. It is the strength you build that no one sees, the knowledge you gain that no one applauds, the resilience you develop when you face challenges alone. These invisible victories accumulate until one day they burst into visible success. People will look at you and call you lucky. They will say you changed overnight, but they will never understand that your so-called overnight success was born from years of silent consistency. Consistency requires patience, and patience requires strength. It is easy to get excited at the beginning of a journey when motivation is high and dreams feel close. But motivation fades, and when it does, only discipline remains. The man who relies on motivation will always stop because motivation is an emotion and emotions change with the wind. But the man who relies on discipline, who builds routines that he follows no matter how he feels, is the one who masters himself. Discipline is the engine of consistency, and consistency is the path to mastery. Without it, you will forever be starting and stopping, talking and quitting, dreaming and failing. But with it, you become unstoppable because you no longer depend on how you feel. You depend only on your commitment. Do not be fooled by those who make noise about their work. They may shout about their progress, post about their routines, and announce their dreams to anyone who will listen. But if you look closely, you will see that noise is often a cover for inconsistency. They talk when they should be acting, they announce when they should be building, and they seek attention to hide the fact that they are not consistent. Do not become like them. Remain silent. Build your consistency quietly. Let your results appear without warning, and let them shock those who never expected you to succeed. Consistency also shapes your character. Every day that you choose discipline over distraction, you are teaching yourself who you are. Every time you complete the work, even when you are tired, you are proving to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. Every time you stay silent and act instead of talking, you are carving discipline into your very identity. And once consistency becomes part of who you are, mastery is inevitable. Because at that point, you no longer force yourself to train, to learn, to grow. You do it naturally, like breathing. This is the stage most people never reach because they quit before their actions become part of their being. But if you endure, if you remain consistent in silence, you will reach it. And when you do, mastery will be your reward. Think about martial arts. A punch is not mastered by throwing it once or twice. It is mastered by throwing it thousands of times, each time in silence, without an audience, without applause. The world only sees the speed, the precision, and the power when it is finally displayed. But they do not see the hours of repetition, the sweat, the pain, the countless times it was done alone in silence. The punch is only powerful because it was made consistent. Your life is no different. Whatever you want to master, you must repeat it with discipline, without complaint, without noise. That is the secret of mastery, consistency. So if you want transformation, stop looking for shortcuts. Stop searching for easy paths. Stop waiting for applause. Commit to consistency. Commit to small actions repeated daily. Commit to silence, because silence will keep you humble. Silence will keep you focused. And silence will keep you building while others waste their time talking. One day, the same people who ignored you will ask how you did it. And you will not need to explain because your results will speak louder than any story you could tell. Mastery is not a sudden flame. It is a fire built stick by stick, spark by spark, until it grows into something unstoppable. If you want that fire, you must remain consistent. You must remain silent. And you must remember that every drop, every step, every small effort matters. Alone, they seem small. Together, they change everything. So let the world make noise. Let them shout, argue, and seek attention. You remain steady. You remain focused. You remain consistent. Over time, your silence will turn into strength. Your consistency will turn into mastery. And your mastery will turn into transformation. And when that day comes, you will realize that you never needed the noise because the quiet path of discipline was always enough. 9. Discipline is freedom, and freedom is transformation. Most people hear the word discipline and they think of it as a burden, as something heavy, as a chain that takes away their freedom. They see discipline as restriction, as limitation, as a form of punishment. But that is because they do not understand it. Discipline is not a prison. Discipline is the path to freedom. The man without discipline is a slave to his impulses, a slave to his desires, a slave to his emotions, and a slave to the distractions of the world. He believes he is free because he can do what he wants in the moment, but in reality, he is chained by his weakness. The man with discipline, however, is free because he controls himself, because he chooses his actions, and because he directs his energy with purpose instead of letting it scatter into nothing. True freedom is not doing whatever you feel like. True freedom is having control over yourself so that nothing controls you. Think about the person who cannot control his appetite. He eats whatever he wants, whenever he wants, without thought or care. At first it feels like freedom, but soon it becomes chains. His body becomes weak. His health declines. His energy fades. He is no longer free. He is trapped by his own lack of discipline. Now think of the person who disciplines himself in eating, who chooses food that strengthens him, who practices moderation. Others may see his choices as restrictions, but in truth, he is free. His body is strong, his energy is high, his spirit is clear. He is free to move, free to act, free to live with strength. That is the paradox of discipline. It appears to take away freedom, but in reality, it gives you more freedom than anything else ever could. Discipline is also freedom from regret. The man who lacks discipline always regrets later. He regrets the time he wasted, the opportunities he ignored, the promises he broke to himself. He looks back and sees a trail of weakness behind him, and that regret becomes heavy. But the man who lives with discipline carries no such weight. He looks back and sees effort, progress, and growth. Even if he has not reached his destination yet, he is free from regret because he knows he has walked faithfully on his path. Discipline today is freedom tomorrow. Without discipline, you will spend your life chained to regret, but with discipline, you will live light and free. Discipline also creates freedom of the mind. When you are undisciplined, your mind is scattered. It jumps from one thought to another, restless and weak. You are easily distracted, easily manipulated, easily controlled. But when you discipline your mind, when you train it to focus, to remain steady, to resist temptation, you free yourself from distraction. Your mind becomes sharp like a blade, cutting through confusion, cutting through chaos, cutting through the noise of the world. A disciplined mind is not enslaved by fear or desire. It is calm, clear, and free. And with that freedom, you can achieve anything because nothing can shake your focus. Discipline of time is perhaps the greatest freedom of all. People who waste their hours believe they are free because they spend their time however they wish. But in truth, they are chained to their own laziness. Their wasted time becomes their wasted life. The man of discipline, however, is free because he commands his time. He decides where his minutes go and he spends them building himself, strengthening himself, moving forward. Time is life. Waste it, and you waste yourself. Guard it with discipline, and you give yourself freedom to live a life of meaning and strength. Even in combat, the undisciplined fighter believes freedom is throwing wild punches, rushing without thought, moving without control. But that kind of freedom leads only to defeat. The disciplined fighter, the one who controls his movements, who saves his energy, who chooses his strikes with precision, he is the one who wins. His discipline gives him freedom inside the fight because he is not enslaved by panic or fear. He moves when he wants, strikes when he wants, and controls the entire flow of the battle. Life is the same. Without discipline, you will flail wildly, wasting energy and losing to circumstances. With discipline, you gain control of the fight itself. Do not confuse discipline with perfection. Discipline does not mean you will never stumble. It does not mean you will never feel temptation, never feel weakness. Discipline means that even when you stumble, you get back up. Even when you feel weakness, you do not give in. Even when you are tempted, you remember your path and return to it. Discipline is not about never falling. It is about never staying down. And every time you rise again, you grow stronger, until eventually your discipline becomes unshakable. That is when you are truly free. Look at those who achieved greatness in any field. Masters of art, warriors, thinkers, leaders. None of them were free in the beginning. They gave themselves to discipline. They practiced when they were tired. They trained when they wanted to rest. They sacrificed comfort for growth. And because of this, they reached a freedom that ordinary people will never understand. Freedom to express themselves without limit. Freedom to rise above mediocrity. Freedom to stand tall when others fall. Discipline was their path and transformation was their reward. So I tell you this, stop fearing discipline. Stop seeing it as a punishment. Understand that discipline is the highest form of love you can show to yourself. It is the love that says, I will not let you stay weak. I will not let you destroy yourself. I will not let you waste your life. Discipline is self-respect, and without self-respect, there is no freedom. Your life will transform the moment you embrace discipline. You will no longer be enslaved by your emotions, by your impulses, by your distractions. You will no longer be pulled in every direction by the noise of the world. Instead, you will stand firm, silent, and strong. You will control yourself, and in controlling yourself, you will control your destiny. That is the freedom that leads to transformation. That is the path of the warrior. Patience and persistence shape the warrior's path. Most people fail in life, not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, and not even because they lack desire, but because they lack patience and persistence. They want results too quickly. They want their transformation overnight. They want success without struggle and progress without time. And when the results do not come as fast as they imagined, they quit. They abandon their path, they make excuses, and they convince themselves that greatness was never meant for them. But the truth is simple. Nothing worth having is built in a day. A warrior's path is long, it is filled with obstacles, and it demands a patience and persistence that most people are too weak to endure. If you want to transform your life, you must learn to walk that path without rushing, without quitting, and without losing faith in the silent progress that is taking place inside you every single day. Patience is not weakness, it is strength under control. It is the ability to endure the slow pace of growth without frustration, to face delay without losing focus, to remain steady even when nothing seems to be changing. Growth is like planting a seed. You put it in the ground, you water it, you protect it, but you cannot demand that it becomes a tree tomorrow. It takes time, it takes seasons, it takes consistency. If you dig it up every day to see if it is growing, you kill it. The same is true of your own transformation. You must plant the seeds of discipline, of silence, of focus, and then give them time to grow. Every day that you remain patient, you are building roots deeper than the eye can see. And when the time comes, those roots will support growth so strong that nothing can shake it. Persistence is the action that keeps patience alive. It is not enough to wait. You must also continue. You must persist even when you feel tired, even when you feel discouraged, even when everything in you screams to stop. Persistence is the fire that keeps you moving forward when the path is dark. Too many people begin with energy, but lack persistence. They run hard for a short time, but when they stumble, when they meet failure, when the results take too long, they stop. They tell themselves it is not worth it. They look for another shortcut, and they start again from zero. That cycle destroys them. But the one who persists, who keeps walking no matter how slow, who keeps working no matter how tired, he will always reach a destination that others never will. You must understand that every small step matters. The world deceives you into thinking that success is about big, dramatic leaps, about overnight changes, about sudden breakthroughs. But in truth, transformation is built from small actions, repeated silently day after day, until they accumulate into something unstoppable. One training session may feel like nothing. One disciplined day may feel like nothing. One moment of silence, when you could have reacted, may feel like nothing. But together, over time, they become everything. Persistence turns small actions into massive results, and patience allows you to wait for those results without giving up too soon. Patience and persistence also protect you from the poison of comparison. When you compare yourself to others, you lose sight of your own path. You see their progress, their achievements, their recognition, and you begin to doubt your own pace. But comparison is dangerous because every journey is different. Some may rise quickly and fall quickly. Others may rise slowly but endure forever. If you are patient, you will not be shaken by another's speed. If you are persistent, you will not be discouraged by your own setbacks. You will understand that as long as you continue, as long as you remain steady, your time will come. Even in combat, patience and persistence are key. A fighter who is impatient rushes into the attack and leaves himself open. A fighter who is persistent, however, wears down his opponent, step by step, strike by strike, waiting for the right moment. He does not panic when his strikes do not land immediately. He does not quit when the fight becomes difficult. He continues patiently, persistently, until the opening appears. Then, with precision, he ends the battle. Life itself is this fight. You will not win in the first strike. You will not transform in the first attempt. You will face resistance, you will face failure, and you will face time. But if you are patient and persistent, you will eventually strike with a force that changes everything. Patience also teaches humility. It forces you to accept that you are not in control of everything. You cannot control the timing of results. You cannot control when the world recognizes your efforts. You cannot control how quickly growth becomes visible, but you can control yourself. You can control your actions, your persistence, your discipline. That humility frees you from frustration because you stop demanding instant rewards and instead commit to the process. You learn to trust the path, to trust your effort, to trust that every step is building something, even if you cannot see it yet. Persistence teaches resilience. It hardens you. It teaches you that no setback is final, no failure is permanent, and no obstacle is unbeatable. Every time you persist, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your circumstances. You learn to bend but not break, to fall but not stay down, to lose but not surrender. That resilience transforms you because it makes you fearless. Once you know you can persist through anything, nothing can intimidate you. The world loses its power to break you because you have already decided that you will never quit. Most people will never experience this transformation because they do not value patience and persistence. They value speed, they value shortcuts, they value appearances. But the warrior values the path itself. He values the discipline of waiting, the strength of continuing, the dignity of enduring. And in that patience and persistence, he becomes something the impatient and inconsistent will never be: unshakable. So remember this: do not rush your growth. Do not quit your journey. Do not demand instant results. Build yourself silently. Persist through every challenge. Remain patient through every delay. Your transformation is not a question of if, it is only a question of when. And when it comes, it will be unstoppable, because it was born not from noise, not from impatience, not from shortcuts, but from the quiet strength of patience and the relentless fire of persistence. That is how a warrior is forged. That is how a life is transformed. The power of self-mastery, becoming untouchable. The greatest victory a man can achieve is not over others, not over his enemies, not over circumstances. It is over himself. Self-mastery is the highest form of power, because when you conquer yourself, you become untouchable. No insult can break you, no praise can inflate you, no rejection can weaken you, and no temptation can enslave you. You stand unshakable, steady like a mountain, silent like deep waters, yet powerful beyond measure. Most people spend their lives trying to control the world around them. They want to change others. They want to bend circumstances to their will. They want to force life to obey them. But a warrior knows that the only true control is control over the self. Once you master yourself, you no longer need to control the world, because the world can no longer control you. Self-mastery begins with the mind. Your mind is the commander of your life. Every action you take, every emotion you feel, every word you speak begins with a thought. If your mind is weak, if your thoughts are scattered, then your life will be the same, weak and scattered. But if your mind is disciplined, if your thoughts are sharp, then your life will be focused and strong. Most people allow their minds to control them. They become prisoners of fear, of doubt, of insecurity. Their minds whisper lies of weakness and they obey. But the warrior trains his mind. He does not allow every thought to live. He chooses his thoughts carefully. He feeds his mind discipline, clarity, and focus, and he starves it of doubt, jealousy, and weakness. Master your mind, and you master your life. Then comes mastery of emotions. Emotions are powerful forces, but if you cannot control them, they will destroy you. Anger will make you reckless, fear will paralyze you, sadness will drain your will, and desire will lead you into traps. But when you control your emotions, they become your allies instead of your enemies. Anger, when controlled, becomes energy. Fear, when mastered, becomes awareness. Sadness, when faced, becomes wisdom. Desire, when disciplined, becomes drive. The one who has mastered his emotions does not overreact, does not collapse under pressure, does not lose himself in temporary feelings. He remains calm in storms, steady in chaos, and silent when others panic. That calmness is power, that silence is control, and that control is what makes you untouchable. Self-mastery also requires control over your body. Your body is your tool, your vehicle, your weapon. Without discipline of the body, the mind cannot fully express itself. A weak body weakens the spirit, but a disciplined body strengthens it. This does not mean only physical training, though training is essential. It means respecting your body, giving it the fuel it needs, strengthening it through effort, protecting it from abuse. Many destroy their bodies through laziness, through indulgence, through carelessness, and then they wonder why their lives lack power. But the warrior knows that the body must be trained like the mind, every day, consistently, in silence. Because when the body is strong and disciplined, the mind becomes sharper and the spirit becomes freer. Master your body and you free yourself from weakness. Then comes mastery of the tongue. Words are dangerous. They can destroy relationships, ignite conflict, and reveal your weaknesses. The undisciplined man speaks too quickly, too often, and too carelessly. He wastes his energy in endless arguments. He reveals his intentions too soon. He speaks promises he cannot keep, and in doing so, he loses respect. But the warrior masters his tongue. He speaks rarely, and when he does, his words carry weight. He knows that silence often speaks louder than noise. He knows that restraint in speech is a form of power. He does not argue to prove himself. He does not shout to be heard. He lets his actions carry his voice. Master your tongue, and you become unpredictable, respected, and free from regret. Self-mastery is also mastery of impulses. Every human being has impulses. Urges to quit when things get hard. Urges to chase comfort instead of discipline. Urges to indulge in temporary pleasure instead of long-term growth. Most people are slaves to these impulses. They give in again and again, and every time they do, they weaken themselves. But the warrior resists. He feels the same impulses, but he does not obey them. He has trained himself to delay gratification, to choose discipline over desire, to remain steady when temptation comes. This is the mark of self-mastery. You are not free until you can say no to yourself. You are not strong until you can resist yourself. And once you achieve that, you become powerful beyond measure, because nothing outside you can tempt you, break you, or control you. Self-mastery is the foundation of transformation. Without it, every success you achieve will be fragile, every victory temporary, every achievement unstable. Because without mastery, the same weaknesses will eventually pull you back down. But with mastery, even when you lose, you remain strong. Even when you fail, you remain steady. Even when life tries to break you, you remain unshaken. That is the difference between those who rise and fall and those who rise and stay. The untouchable man is not one who avoids pain. He is one who endures it with discipline. He is not one who avoids failure. He is one who learns from it without losing himself. He is not one who avoids challenges. He is one who grows stronger through them. This is the power of self-mastery. It does not remove life's difficulties, but it transforms how you face them. You no longer react like a slave to your emotions, your impulses, or your environment. You act like a master, choosing your responses, choosing your actions, choosing your path. And in that choice lies true freedom. So understand this. The journey to self-mastery is long, it is difficult, and it is silent. It requires constant discipline, constant awareness, constant correction of the self. You will stumble, you will face temptation, you will fall into weakness at times. But every time you rise again, every time you resist again, every time you return to discipline, you grow stronger. Slowly, silently, consistently, you carve yourself into someone who cannot be broken. That is when you become untouchable. That is when you transform not only your life, but yourself. Focus on yourself. Stay silent. Train your mind. Discipline your body. Guard your tongue. Control your emotions. Master your impulses. This is the way of self-mastery. This is the path of the warrior. Walk it every day, and you will discover a power greater than wealth, greater than fame, greater than recognition. You will discover the power of being untouchable, because you have mastered the one thing the world can never take from you, yourself. You have listened to these lessons, and you have heard me speak of silence, of discipline, of focus, of self-mastery. Now understand this. All of it comes down to one choice. Do you want to remain like the masses, noisy, distracted, weak, and easily controlled? Or do you want to walk the path of the warrior, a path of silence, of focus, of discipline, of transformation? That choice is yours, and it will shape your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. Most people waste their lives chasing approval, chasing recognition, chasing comfort. They speak endlessly of their dreams but never take action. They argue about things that do not matter. They complain about things they cannot control, and they reveal their weaknesses with every careless word. They believe they are living freely, but in truth, they are slaves to their impulses, to their distractions, to their emotions, and to the noise of the world. Do not become like them. If you do, you will live small and you will die small, never discovering the power you carried within you all along. The warrior, however, chooses differently. He chooses silence over noise. He chooses discipline over weakness. He chooses focus over distraction. He chooses to master himself instead of trying to control others. And because of these choices, he transforms. His silence becomes his weapon. His discipline becomes his shield. His persistence becomes his path. His mastery becomes his freedom. And his freedom becomes his transformation. This is not a dream. This is not a theory. This is the way of life for the one who chooses the path of silence and self-mastery. Remember that transformation does not come in an instant. It does not arrive with fanfare or applause. It grows in silence, in patience, in persistence. It is built day after day, choice after choice, moment after moment, when you decide again and again to remain silent, to remain disciplined, to remain focused. Every time you resist the urge to waste your energy in noise, you grow. Every time you train in silence, you grow. Every time you choose persistence when you feel like quitting, you grow. Slowly, quietly, you are building a foundation of strength that nothing can shake. And one day, the world will see it, and they will call it sudden. They will call it luck. They will call it fate, but you will know the truth. It was built in silence. Ask yourself now, do you want to be respected or pitied? Do you want to be untouchable or fragile? Do you want to live as a master of yourself or a slave to the world? These are not small questions. These are the questions that decide the course of your entire life. And the answer is not in your words. It is in your actions. It is in your silence. It is in your discipline. It is in your persistence. It is in your self-mastery. Only through these will you transform into the person you were meant to be. Do not wait for the world to change before you begin. Do not wait for applause before you act. Do not wait for motivation before you move. Begin now. Begin in silence. Begin with focus. Begin with discipline. Begin by mastering yourself. Do not speak of it, do it. Do not announce it, live it. Do not ask for permission, become it. The path is already in front of you. All you must do is walk it. And as you walk it, remember this truth. Silence is not emptiness. It is power. Discipline is not restriction. It is freedom. Persistence is not suffering. It is transformation. Self-mastery is not denial, it is victory. When you embrace these, you rise above the weakness of the world. You become untouchable, you become unstoppable, you become unshakable. And when the world finally notices you, when they finally ask how you did it, you will not need to explain. Your life will be the answer. So focus on yourself, stay silent, protect your energy, train in isolation, master your mind, your body, your emotions, your tongue, your impulses. Build yourself quietly, consistently, persistently. And one day, without even realizing it, you will look in the mirror and see someone transformed, someone stronger than fear, steadier than anger, freer than desire, someone who no longer needs validation, who no longer bends under pressure, who no longer seeks permission, someone who is truly alive, truly free, truly powerful. That is the way of the silent warrior. That is the path of transformation. And if you walk it, nothing in this world will ever touch you again.